I'm having a good 2 seconds there. Ow! That hurts.
Hello, this is Chris Manzi. This is my first video blog of a lot of useless information for most people, I guess. I haven't really named it yet. But I'm going to do today's blog, and I'm going to try to, structure all my blogs around, something relevant to somebody. A lot of it's going to be boxing. A lot of it's going to be running, health, fitness, hiking, camping, mountaineering, music. Music's big. It's going to be a lot of things. So we'll get started. I'm going to try to keep it as short as I can. About 10 minutes or so I don't bore you too much. So this past weekend, which was the weekend of the 7th, my wife she has participated in a race in Whitehall, New York at Whiteface Mountain called the Whiteface Sky Race. That's held by Red Newt Racing, or Red Newt Running. I'm going to pull up the file here with all this information. Move it out of the way here so I can see it. There's that. Oops. Clumsy guy I am here. Okay, so it was hosted by, Red Newt Racing. It was the Whiteface Sky Race. Whiteface Mountain, Whitehall, New York. That was July 9th, just 3 days ago. The race had about 120 total people in it. Not an easy race, not an easy mountain. I'm from New York State. I'm from Albany, like 3 hours or so from there, and about 3.5, 4 hours from where I live now in New Hampshire. I never realized how big the mountain was until I drove up to it, and it's a big mountain. It's a big mountain. The race looked, well, let me tell you, it looked like something I'll never do. Health issues and whatnot of my own, but I got to give it to the people I finished the race, including my wife. That was a hell of a job they did. So you got in the race, it was a 15 mile, like 25K. So they did 3 loops. The loops, the first and the last loop are the same, and then the middle loop was a recovery loop. not much of a recovery from what I understand. In its own way, it was just as bad as the first and last loop. But the whole race, it had a total of 8,000 feet in elevation gain. Very steep. If you look at the lateral lines on a map, the topo map, you're going to find something that's completely... If you know anything about topos and you know what you're looking at, look for Whiteface Mountain and you'll understand. Unbelievable. They went up the main part of the, Whiteface, and then they came down and they kind of like went over the ridge between Whiteface Mountain and Little Whiteface, and then back down to the bottom, and that was one loop. And so it was about 5-point-something miles. And they did that last too, and in the middle, like I said, is a recovery loop. It was a little bit longer in mileage, but not much. Good race. Red Newt Racing seemed to be a pretty organized organization. They had their stuff together. They had, I think, enough volunteers. From what I could see at the bottom of the mountain, I don't know what they had going on up the mountain, but they had it going on there pretty good. They had a sponsor. The one sponsor I did see was Scott Sports, and they had a lot of their shoes there. A lot of their trail running shoes looked like a quality piece of merchandise for the runner's world, and everybody seemed to have fun. After they got over the initial torture, they seemed to enjoy the race for the most part. I have video, but I just don't know how to insert it into this live. So I'll figure that all out. If you guys got any ideas, suggestions, please feel free. Leave it in the comment box. I'm somewhere down there, when it's on YouTube, and give me your input. This is my first blog, my first video blog on YouTube, on YouTube. I think I'm gonna put it up on. So I got to tell you, man, my wife is a hell of an athlete. She got into the running when she got into boxing. And she's had 5 boxing matches. She's 3-2, and she realized, like, into the first fight or 2 that she had, that running is going to be an important integral part of the training for that. And then it turned out actually she really loved the running much more than the boxing, which makes sense. You pummel yourself running. You don't have another person trying to pummel you. So. With that being said, she ran a hell of a race. She took about 6 hours, and I think it was like 6:08. She figured 4.5, and and another guy that we went up there with, he's figuring about 3.5 to 4 for him, and they just miscalculated. They didn't really know what they were getting into on that mountain. It was a hell of a run. The next race that I know she's going to get into is the J Peak Run. And that's being held by a guy, Chris Bernier, I believe his name is, out of Ringe, New Hampshire. He does a lot of events, a lot of trail events. And that's a hell of a race, too. That mountain is totally an intimidating mountain. It looks like something out of, the Western Rockies, maybe the Olympic Range. Not extremely big like those mountains, but, when you're looking at granite and rain and bugs and, stuff you don't have on the West Coast that we have here. I mean, it's torture nonetheless. But my wife, on the other hand, has run that one a couple times and did the 25K there. And after running this Whiteface race, she's going to do the 50 this year. She's going to do the 50K. So she'll be doing twice what she normally does. And she doesn't think she's going to have a problem after what she just went through this past weekend. So that's hosted by, the J Peak is hosted by a bunch of people. I'll get into that in my next blog on racing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But overall, I'm thinking that, the running thing, if somebody's, into road running, they've never done trails, look for small events. The East Coast, they got a bunch of trail clubs, running clubs that do all kinds of events, host all kinds of events. Definitely give it a shot. Start small and and work yourself up. It seems like everybody has a good time. Everybody has a good time. I'm like the one support guy. I'm Mr. Support. That's what I go for. I make sure, everything's okay, safe with my wife, man. And, anybody that I know that we're with, or anybody that can use an extra hand, I'm there for it. Even if these guys don't even know who I am, I'm always trying to offer my support and help to all these guys, because they got a lot on their hands. There's a lot of stuff. They worry about safety and people finishing, and just doing the right things and getting everything in the right order. I think it's a pretty good setup for the two big ones that I've been to now, which is Whiteface and the JP race. I was at one of the TARC events down in, I want to say it was Waltham, Mass, or Weston. That was a good event. That was like a midwinter thing, December race, and that seemed to go okay. And my wife's done a couple of those as well, and not to mention the Ragnars, the relays, the multi-day events. Those are a lot of fun. She's done the Reach the Beach a couple times, and a couple other ones, Northfield and all that good stuff down in Massachusetts. But all in all, it was a great weekend. Whiteface Mountain is a beautiful place. If you need a place to stay up there, we stayed in a little place called Cadence Lodge. That's CADENCE Lodge. And Shelly and Don own it. Really nice people. They're totally accommodating. They went above and beyond for us. And we don't forget that. So, shout out to them, Cadence Lodge, Shelly, Don. We'll, hopefully see you again very soon, and enjoy the rest of your summer up there, obviously. And for all the guys at Red Newt Racing, thank you again for having such a good race. Scott Sports for bringing the shoes. People seem to like them a lot, and until next time, this is Manzi's video blog of mostly useless information. So until next time, next week, we'll bid you adieu. Have a great night. Enjoy life. Every day you wake up and you take that first deep breath and you see the green grass and the blue sky is a good day. And enjoy it. Enjoy it. Peace out. Come on, baby! You had that shit.